In light of the public outcry over individuals' NRIC numbers being publicly accessible via HRCA's new BizFile website, the Ministry of Digital Development and Information argued that national registration identity card numbers are just identifiers and should not be treated as private data. This stance marks a significant shift from the position Singapore's government took in 2018, when new rules under the Personal Data Protection Act were introduced to restrict the collection, use and disclosure of NRIC numbers. In August 2018, the Personal Data Protection Commission, which operates under MDDI, announced stricter regulations for handling NRIC numbers, which came into effect on 1 September 2019. These rules explicitly recognized the sensitivity of NRIC numbers due to their potential for misuse, and the adverse impact on individuals if disclosed without authorization. The PDPC wrote at the time, "The sensitivity and potential adverse impact to the individual of any unauthorized use or disclosure of his or her NRIC number must be taken into consideration. Organizations are expected to provide a greater level of security to protect NRIC numbers." This framework acknowledged the risks associated with NRIC misuse, such as identity theft, fraud, and harassment. Organizations were required to implement reasonable security arrangements to protect NRIC numbers and ensure their collection, use, or disclosure was necessary and justified. So why, just a few years later, is MDDI now asserting that NRIC numbers are not sensitive and that there should be no hesitation in sharing them? MDDI's argument is that NRIC numbers are akin to names, unique identifiers that are not inherently private. The Ministry reasons that masking NRIC numbers provides a false sense of security, and that the real problem lies in their misuse for authentication rather than their disclosure. However, this stance contradicts the principles outlined by the PDPC in 2018. The earlier position explicitly recognized the sensitivity of NRIC numbers and mandated heightened security measures to protect them. This reversal is particularly puzzling given the continued risks, such as scammers using NRIC numbers to impersonate authorities and harass individuals, or malicious actors exploiting NRICs to block SingPass accounts. The risks associated with unauthorized access to NRIC numbers are not hypothetical. In 2019, former presidential candidate Tan Kin Leon faced harassment when an unknown individual repeatedly used his published NRIC number to attempt to log into his SingPass account. After 6 failed attempts, the system automatically locked his account, forcing Mr. Tan to reset his password. As Mr. Tan pointed out, all it needs is for someone to have the NRIC number and make 6 attempts to get the SingPass account blocked. This loophole highlights the practical vulnerabilities created when NRIC numbers are so widely used as identifiers. While SingPass offers the option to change one's ID, many users, particularly seniors, continue to use their NRIC as the default ID, leaving them vulnerable to such harassment. Scams targeting seniors further this danger. Fraudsters armed with NRIC numbers can easily pose as government officials, gain victims' trust, and trick them into revealing sensitive information. In a report by the Straits Times, a housewife shared how she began checking the portal after a scammer, posing as an Interpol officer, called her mother and read out her address and NRIC number, believing the caller to be legitimate due to the accuracy of the information. Her mother almost provided her bank details. However, Tan intervened in time. She also discovered the names and NRIC numbers of her friends through the portal. Given these examples, the 2018 position that NRIC numbers require heightened protection due to their potential misuse remains highly relevant today. MDDI's new stance seems to disregard the very concerns that prompted the PDP's stricter rules in 2018. The Ministry has not provided a clear explanation for this shift. If NRIC numbers were deemed sensitive just 5 years ago, why are they now considered benign? What data, policy changes, or new safeguards justify this reversal? Has the risk of unauthorized use or disclosure decreased, or has the government decided that the potential harms are now acceptable? Until these questions are addressed, MDDI's position will remain difficult to reconcile with the PDP's earlier acknowledgement of the dangers associated with NRIC misuse. The public deserves clarity on why such a fundamental shift in policy has occurred, and how the government plans to mitigate the ongoing risks. Without a detailed explanation, the change appears inconsistent and undermines confidence in how the government assesses and manages personal data risks.